Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a high-stakes playbook, the one professionals use when everything hits the fan. We're going to look at how they take what seems like a disaster and turn it into something manageable, without the catastrophic losses.
All right, picture this. A multi-million-dollar shipment just disappears. It's gone dark. Your phone is blowing up. The pressure is insane. What's your first move? Your gut, your instinct, is probably screaming at you to jump in, start making calls, promise a fix, right? Well, what if I told you that that very instinct, that urge to solve, is probably the worst thing you could do?
And right here, this is the fork in the road. It's the difference between an amateur and a pro. The amateur, well, they react, they panic, they start trying to make everyone happy, making promises they can't keep, promises that aren't even written down. But the professional? They do the exact opposite. They pause, they verify, they take control. And believe me, that one distinction changes the entire game.
So you got to ask, how does a simple problem like a truck delay spiral into a complete catastrophe? Look, in high-pressure fields like logistics, problems are just another Tuesday. They happen. But the real damage, the stuff that costs millions, that doesn't come from the problem itself. It comes from the chaos that happens right after.
And this is the key takeaway, right here. You have to understand that problems are going to happen. They're inevitable. But losses? Losses are not. A pro knows the difference. See, a truck breaking down, that's a problem. Losing the client over it, getting hit with huge claims, trashing your reputation, that's a loss. And a loss, well, that's something you can actually prevent.
Yeah, the loss doesn't come from the flat tire. It snowballs because of how we react. We get emotional. We try to be the hero and please everybody. We make promises over the phone that we never write down. Every single one of those reactions is like handing over the steering wheel. You're giving up control and creating liability that just wasn't there a minute ago.
Okay, so this leads us to probably the biggest mindset shift of all. It's totally counterintuitive, but when a crisis explodes, a pro's first goal is not what you think. It is absolutely not about finding the solution right away.
Just read that for a second. The first objective is not resolution, it is control. It's not about fixing the truck, it's about taking command of the entire situation. The communication, the facts, the decisions. The fix, the resolution, that comes way later, and it only works if it's built on a solid foundation of control.
So, what do we even mean by control? This isn't about being some kind of dictator, barking orders. No. It's about becoming the calm, steady center in a hurricane of chaos. It means you figure out what's actually happening, you stop people from running off and doing things based on rumors, you prevent decisions you haven't approved, and this is huge, you keep all of your options open for later. And you have to get this right from the very beginning, because control, it's like momentum in sports. Once you lose it, especially early on, getting it back is next to impossible. Seriously, those first few moments, they set the tone for everything that follows.
All right, so let's get practical. Let's open up the actual playbook. How do you do this? How do you flip that switch into control mode? Because it's not just some fuzzy concept, it's a very specific, disciplined set of actions.
So the first move isn't a crazy storm of phone calls. It's a calm, four-step process. Number one, you pause. Just stop. Take a breath. Fight that urge to fire off an immediate reply. Number two, you request an update, and you ask for it in writing. Super important. Three, you verify. You check the facts. Is what you're hearing actually true? And finally, number four, you document everything. And I mean everything. Now, this is so important. The words you choose can either save you or sink you. On one side, you've got protective language, things like, we're looking into it. That keeps you in charge, no admission of guilt. But on the other side, you have destructive language, stuff like, oh man, this is all our fault. That's just an emotional reaction, but you better believe it can be used against you as an admission of liability.
Because here's the bottom line. Words create records, and records create liability. In a high-stakes world, every single email, every text message, it all becomes part of a permanent record. And trust me, that record will be pulled out later to figure out who's to blame and who's paying the bill. Your words carry a ton of weight.
This right here is the golden rule of this entire playbook. If it's not in writing, it basically didn't happen. Down the road, in any kind of dispute, whether it's with a client or in a courtroom, the only thing that's going to matter is the paper trail. That promise you made on the phone, it's like it never even existed.
Another thing pros do is they mentally categorize the problem, like instantly. Is this an operational issue? Okay, then the focus is on getting a status update and finding a new route. But is it a compliance issue? or a financial one, whoa, then the game changes. It's all about restoring control and getting written evidence. Putting the problem in the right box keeps you from using the wrong tool for the job, which can make things so much worse.
Okay, so all of this, it builds up to one final, really critical mindset. And it's the difference between authority and accommodation. It's all about your posture during the crisis. Are you just bending over backward to accommodate every little request? Or are you the calm authority figure who is managing the process?
And look, there's a massive difference between being cooperative and just being accommodating. Authority means you're helpful, you're a team player, but it's all happening within clear boundaries that you set. Accommodation, on the other hand, is when you just give in. You start ceding control just to keep people from yelling at you. And all that does is signal weakness. It's basically an open invitation for people to manipulate the situation.
You know, a huge part of being that authority figure is knowing when it's time to escalate. And escalating isn't a sign that you failed. Not at all. It's a strategic move. If someone goes dark on you, if they're flat out ignoring your instructions, if things are happening that you didn't approve, you have to escalate. Right then. Waiting is the worst thing you can do. It just burns through your options and jacks up the risk.
So let's just leave it with this question. The next time a crisis hits, when things go completely sideways, your gut is going to tell you to chase the solution, to fix it, now. But everything we've talked about today shows that's exactly the wrong move. The real question is, do you have the discipline to fight that instinct, to pause, to verify, and to establish control first? Because honestly, that one decision, it will determine everything else that happens.